It was in jail that I realized that God was doing for me something that I couldn't do for myself, and I had a new goal. My new goal was to serve God, because I knew that in a miraculous way He had saved me, and that He had changed me, and that He had made me into a new creation. There was a lot of turmoil growing up, a lot of fighting, a lot of abandonment issues that I was going through, of my father not being around and working quite a bit. That led right into a life of partying, heavy alcohol use early on. When I was 13, I started drinking alcohol, smoking pot on a regular basis, and started experimenting with all sorts of different drugs.
Then he kind of drifted off into his own set of friends, set of everything. Didn't really see him too much. And unbeknownst to me, I didn't know, but he was falling into his addiction.
By the time I was 17, I was a full-blown alcoholic, drinking every day. I quickly found that I could no longer be happy. My brain chemistry was just shot. I could no longer have the ability to even hold a happy thought in my head. I was just constantly depressed.
Subsequently, during this time, I found out that he was actively growing drugs in his apartment house. He was actively dealing around town.
It was at that point that I really began to become obsessed with the idea of suicide. I got off work and I was walking home, and I walked across some train tracks right there, and I got an idea in my head that, I'll just wait for the train to come, and I'll just throw myself in front of the train.
And he actually was scoping out the time of day and what train he was going to step in front of. So there I was perplexed. I'm thinking, okay, do I call the police on him and have maybe a wellness check on him? I knew what they were going to find. That was probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, was to make that call, not knowing what was going to happen.
So I got arrested, found myself in the Orange County Jail, broken, everything taken away from me. I had no possessions, no hope. So I had this option: do I go to prison for 4 years, or do I go to rehab for 6 months at the Salvation Army Adult Rehabilitation Center? Obviously, it was a no-brainer, but as it turned out, going to rehab might be harder than doing jail time, because I have to actually address my issues. I have to actually look at why I'm drinking and using.
I remember when I took Ryan to ARC and then took him in, and we hugged each other, and he gave me a kiss on the cheek, and I just said, "Look, Ryan," I'm praying for you. I said, "I know this is the best thing for you. You got to know this is too." And he agreed. I walked out of there and took his backpack and went out to the car. I was probably in the car for a good 10 minutes, and I was just sobbing. And just thanking God for the opportunity for him to get this help.
And it was there in the Adult Rehabilitation Center that I was able to face myself, face my pain, face the reality that I am addicted to drugs and alcohol, that I have been suffering.
Well, the Adult Rehabilitation Center program is an opportunity for men and women who have drug and alcohol issues to come to us. Many of these men and women come to us without hope, without a plan for their life.
The Salvation Army Adult Rehabilitation Center absolutely changed my life. And it was there that I was able to get connected to the Salvation Army Church in Anaheim. At our core, there was this feeling that I belonged there.
It's so vital for these guys to have somewhere to go after they get out of here. So the ARC Corps connection, I think that's the biggest, most important thing.
That's why we think the church environment is so good, because they're here and they're learning and they're growing, but they're in fellowship, they're in community, and they're being loved, and if they're missing, someone's going to call them, and those kind of things. And so they need to be able to be around people who know them and love them and have walked that way before.
Our program is mainly funded through donations. I don't think there's anything we do around here that didn't come from a donation. Ryan got well because of a donation. I got well because of a donation. I got my kids back in my life because of a donation. You know what I mean? Really, literally. And that's where Ryan, Ryan's got a job today, and he's got a car today, he's got a life today because of a donation.
In recovery, he was dealing with a lot of life issues. The chemical substance abuse issues, family issues, all those sorts of things. And so life needed to be focused on him and what he was doing. But now he's kind of come full around, where now he's helping others as they walk really a similar journey that he walked.
Upon completing the Adult Rehabilitation Center, I stayed plugged in with Anaheim Corps. Got to start to teach messages in that, kind of got groomed up as a leader in that service.
The Salvation Army was just, I think, literally saved his life. And I think talking with him, he would probably tell you the same thing. He's definitely a 180 from the person he used to be.
I never thought of the life that I have today would have been possible from the life that I'd come from. It was a life of despair, a life of hopelessness, a life of pain and suffering and running and hiding. Being giving, being honest, being courageous in what I'm doing is really the key to staying sober.